All right, welcome. Welcome to Believers Connection Single Challenge. I'm excited tonight, and I hope you all can hear me well. We're going to jump in tonight, and I believe it's going to be um, really impactful and really enriching tonight. And we're going to get into some things that's going to really captivate you into and develop you into having the tools that you need to go forward into your identity so that you can be affirmed in the relationship that you desire to go into. There are things that we must learn about ourselves so that we can understand who we are and the people and the person that God has for us. You can be commensurate in purpose for the um, purposes of God and understand the difference between a successful relationship and an unsuccessful relationship. Last week was powerful, and I hope you all got a chance to go and listen in. If you haven't heard it, I want you to go back and make sure that you're able to listen in. If you see somebody that's not on here that was on there last week, go ahead and text them and tell them we're live. You don't want to miss this tonight. We're going to get into some things that's going to really be impactful. And when I say impactful, this is going to impact your development so that you can come into your core identity, so that you learn to test yourself where you are in the faith, and you understand how to test those that you desire. Before you, if you desire to be married, you can test who you are coming into relationship with. So I want you to be ready. The first thing, number one, we're going to deal with the difference between demographics and psychographics. Okay. When I am looking for, and I'm dealing with a relationship, I have to understand the difference between what am I looking for a certain demographic uh, qualification, or am I looking for a psychographic qualification? Okay, what is a demographic? Usually, when people look at demographics, um, you're looking at skin color, you're looking at uh, height, you're looking at weight, you're looking at um, all kinds of different personality traits that has nothing to do usually with a person's psychographic, which is where they are in their life, where they are in their season, where they are in their education, where they are in um, the psychosystems, their mentality, okay, their mindset about life, their mindset about who they are and where they're going. So a lot of times when we're dealing with relationships, people are always looking for a type of demographic versus the psychographic. Okay, are you looking for? Some people say, "Well, I ain't looking for anything." Well, if you're desiring to be in a relationship or you're desiring to be married, you have to learn to not only look at a demographic. Okay, a demographic is a age, a stage, a pigment color. You have to learn to look at the psychographics. What is a psychographics? That's the place where someone is in their life. Okay, I need to be able to test the complexities of someone's communication, character, conduct, of where they are in their life. Okay, I need to check their character, their conduct, their conversation for the psychographics of where they are in their life. I don't always need to look at the demographics. Demographics can fool you. Demographics is, they got to be this certain height, weight, this, that, and other. And I'm not saying everybody has a desire of what they desire in a relationship, but you need to make sure that that's not the only thing that you're looking for when you're looking and you're desiring a relationship or a spouse. Okay, so always desire the principles that govern relationship through God, And when you're talking about principles and how people are processing, that's the psychographics of their life. Okay, that's the psychographics of their life, and we want to make sure. Give me 1 second. Look like I'm freezing here. All right. Sorry about that. Um, so um, thank you for being patient. All right. So we got the demographics versus the psychographic in a relationship. When I am looking only at demographics, I have to allow God to help me process me. Okay. Because when I'm only looking for the outer appearance of someone, that means I'm stuck in my outer appearance. Okay. You only look, you only perceive, you only see things as you are. Okay. We see things as we are, not as things are. All right. So when we're looking at different things in our life, we see things as we are, not as they really are, not as they really is. And so you have to understand the way I see a thing is where I am in my life. And so what we want to do is make sure that we'll be able to see through a thing. That way we're not getting fooled by face value. Okay. I can learn to hear beyond face value. What is beyond face value? I'm not just listening to what somebody say. I'm actually learning to discern beyond the face. Okay. Can you learn to discern beyond the face of what somebody says? Many people don't have levels of discernment beyond the face of what someone says. And when you can't discern beyond the face of what someone says, what that means is there are internal areas that God needs to work out in you, because you're still not facing things within yourself. See, when you have a clear conscience about who you are in the things of Christ, number one, and who you are in the things that you feel called to and what God is calling you to, when you have a clear conscience, you can see through things. You can see through like Batman or Superman. All right. You can really see through things. So you want to make sure that you understand that the processes that you're going through and the core competencies that you're learning. This is why we're doing this. I'm teaching you the core competencies of, number one, a relationship with yourself, and number two, how to have successful relationship with others. And you have to be able to test others. You have to test. The Bible says, test yourself to see if you're in the faith. And so if you're coming in the faith as one for a marriage, you need to be able to test your spirit and also test someone else's as you're growing to communicate effectively and understand who you are dating or who you are desiring to be in a relationship with or marry. All right. So you don't want to listen, you don't want to go through trial and error. Okay. Many people go in relationships and they go way too fast without understanding the tools and having the competencies of a relationship. And when you do that, you don't realize you didn't have to do that. A lot of things that come with relationship has to have the understanding and the tools of the complexities. Relationships are not built on love. Relationships are built on understanding. Write that down if you need to. Relationships are not built on love. They're built on understanding. And so if you're so busy worrying about how we love each other, that is a component that you need. But love has to be pushed into understanding. Okay. By the grace of God, I've been doing marriage counseling. I've been doing all kinds of types of counseling, life counseling, marriage counseling. And what I found is people don't have a love problem with each other. They'll say, I love them, I just can't live with them. I love them, but I cannot live with them. I love them, but I can't deal with them. So it's not always a love position. Sometimes it's the complexity of a person that you did not know about, and you didn't realize you couldn't handle it. So we're dealing with handling each other. We're dealing with, can I handle me and can I handle you? Last week we talked about being needy. So you need to make sure that you're not so needy that you're jumping into relationships prematurely of principle, and understanding the complexities of how to handle the person that you're trying to or you desire to be with. All right. You got to, like I said, sometimes you need to get out of the restaurant, go get some coffee, and let's talk, because I need to know your submission. I need to know your character and how you believe, which way you believe what you say you believe. Okay. Because I need to understand you, so that if we do desire to get married, or we do desire to get in a deeper relationship, I know I have the tools to handle you, who you are, and be able to walk with you in where God is calling us to. Guys, for you to do that successfully, you stop looking at demographics, and you need to go into learning to look at the psychographics. Demographics is looking at weight, height, skin color, all of the different demographics of different different ethnic groups and all of that stuff. But you need to learn to start discerning through the psychographics. The psychographics of someone is where they are in their development of life. Where are you? What are you saying out your mouth? What are you looking for based on where you understand you are? All right. So I don't want to just get somebody because they look like my skin color. They look like they are the right age. They go to the right. They got the right job. Listen, that's a recipe for disaster. Okay, that's a recipe for disaster. You need to be able to understand the psychographics. Where are you in life? What is going on in your life? How are you handling your life? What do you desire out of life? You see, that's the psychographics. All right. So you have to understand these are the Christ components that you need to learn to deal with. Because if you don't, and this is important, I hope you stand with me. This is important. If you don't learn to start identifying the psychographics of someone's life, watch this, you're going to fall. You're going to fail with misinterpreting who someone is and having an expectation beyond your ability. Okay. You can fail in your interpretation with someone, and you're going to have an expectation beyond your ability. Am I having an expectation beyond my ability? Do I have an expectation for someone beyond my ability? This is why it's very important. I tell people all the time, get a mature counselor, before you try to take a relationship steps. Number one, we talked about last week, don't do relationship without purpose. Everything you do, I don't care if you talk about courting. We talk about the difference between courting and discipleship. If you're courting, do it on purpose. Don't do anything outside of purpose. All right. So you want to make sure that you understand the behavior mechanisms and who someone is, and what their desires, what their abilities, what they've been through. And that way you can really have a purposeful walk in where we need development and where we're flourishing towards unity. All right. I'm going to talk tonight briefly about some personality traits. Okay. There was a study that was done. And I've been studying this, and it's been helpful. I've taught through things like this, but they've studied a couple of things, and I'm going to share it with you tonight. Okay. Because there are personality attachment traits that we have in our life that sometimes we don't even discern that we have, right? There are attachments, there are different types of attachment, levels of attachment that causes us to modify our behavior when we're dealing with dealing with relationships. All right. The goal is for you to be secure, have a secure attachment style. All right. A secure attachment style. Okay. A secure attachment style means you're not needy. That's ultimately what it means. It means that you're not needy. All right. So when I'm secure in my attachment style, usually I've worked through some enough processes to not be anxious or avoidant or fearful. All right. So there are 4 types of attachment styles that I want you to listen to tonight, because sometimes what's causing relationships not to work is we don't understand the type of attachment style that someone has. All right. And some things, that attachment style, a lot of that is congruent with your childhood. It's congruent with the makeup of where you come from. It's congruent with how you were raised, how you dealt with trauma, how you dealt with drama, how you dealt with things as you were growing in your life, with your mother and your father. Okay. And so I'm going to go through these attachment styles. And if you identify yourself, it's okay. We're working through it. All right. We're working through it. The goal is for you to have a secure attachment style. Okay. When you're secure, you have you're attuned to emotions. All right. You're attuned to your emotions and you're attuned to others' emotions. All right. You can communicate effectively to a degree that you're not making things personal all the time. All right. Because you're secure within yourself. All right. You have a flexibility and complexity. All right. So you're flexible in your personality and your identity enough to go through the complexity of different people's lives and different people's disorder. All right. You don't allow disorder to make you disorderly. You can talk through different things without having all kinds of issues. All right. So the goal is for us to come into a secure attachment style. That way, you're not needy and you understand the complexities of other people's attachment styles. Okay. So number 1, it's secure. There's a secure attachment style. Many of you, if I ask you, are you secure in your attachment? All right. So we can test that. We can see how you respond in communication. All right. We can see when things happen in relationships. How do you respond? Are you fearful? Are you avoidant? Are you dismissive? All right. So if you're needy, if there are areas of that's in you that's needing things, okay, there may be number 1, an anxious attachment style. Okay. When people have an anxious attachment style, okay, they have a real nervous, a sensitive and a nervous system. All right. They're very nervous. They struggle to communicate. All right. They struggle to communicate. They tend to act out. They tend to get triggered easy. All right. Because they're very anxious in the relationship. When you have somebody that's anxious in a relationship, they're always fidgety. And once again, this is not to listen. If you have some of these traits, this is not to bash. This is not to condemn. This is to help you to identify where you are, so you can you can allow God to help you get help towards where you need to go. All right. So you can be secure in you, secure through God, and then you can start having successful and flourishing relationships. All right. So if you have an anxious attachment style, that anxiousness probably come from different childhood traumas. When I have certain levels of childhood trauma, I can have an anxious attachment style. So when it comes to relationships, I'm very anxious. I'm very, what is the person doing? What's happening? I always got to make, so I'm always having a nervousness about things going on in a relationship. All right. And I tend to get triggered easy and act out about anything because I'm anxious about making this work. I need this thing to work. I need this thing to happen. All right. So anything that doesn't look like it's making it happen, I get real anxious. I get real fidgety. All right. So that's an anxious attachment style. Okay. And the problem is a person like that is still too needy because they're not secure yet. There's not enough security within themselves to relax and watch this, and let the relationship grow so you can go into where you call to go into. All right. If you can't relax and you're so anxious about a relationship, that's some flags. You got to slow down. You can't force it. All right. Listen, I know everybody's not going to like this. This is not popular, but I'm helping you so that you can save time and not waste time. Number two attachment style, and most people have this attachment style, okay, is the avoidant attachment style. Avoidant dismissive, okay? When somebody have an avoidant or a dismissive attachment style, they usually downplay the importance of relationships, okay? Are extremely self-reliant. I see some of y'all raising your hand right now, okay? You're extremely self-reliant. It's kind of like you want a relationship, but you feel like you are so self-reliant. You get what you want out of the relationship, but it's easy for you to detach from it. Okay, it's kind of like a childhood syndrome, a single childhood syndrome. Okay, so that avoidant dismissive behavior from a person or yourself comes from childhood levels of maybe not having certain conversations, certain intimacy levels with your parents, certain intimacy level, not even having a voice when you're a child. Okay, so you're easily detached from relationships. It's easy to detach. You don't really like to go deep in conversations. You don't really like to go deep into anything. Why? It's too deep. It's too much. I don't like to talk too much. We can go surface. I'll seem like I want to talk about it, but I don't touch everything because it might hit something that seemingly can hurt me or harm our relationship. All right. So avoidant dismissive attachment style usually want to get everything fixed, but don't usually want to get to the depths of the heart of a thing. All right. And so that's a dismissive avoidant. Okay. I'm really avoidant of anything that can shift the relationship. I'm easily wanting to make things work, make it work. And once I make it work, I don't realize that I'm detached from intimacy. I'm detached from relational intimacy. Okay. I hope this is making sense out there. All right. So I may have a avoidant dismissive attachment style. Okay. Many people live like this in their households. Many marriages have this and don't even know it. Right. That's why I say when we look at marriages, many people live separate, but they're married. They live separate, but they're married because they're detached. There's a dismissive and avoidant behavior form because of a lot of times in their childhood. And so they communicate and have a form, kind of like a form of godliness. They have a form of marriage. I call it a form of marriage. I don't know about you. I don't want to have a form of marriage. I want to have real intimacy and get to the connectivity of the heart. Okay. So sometime when we have a dismissive, avoidant attachment style, you're very dismissive. You miss the cues very easy. You don't get the cues of the complexities of someone. Okay. It's like women don't understand men to a degree. Like you don't catch the cues, and men don't catch the cues of the woman when you have a dismissive avoidant. I know if you're getting this, somebody put a thumbs up out there. Let me know you're getting this. Okay. So you have to understand your attachment style. Why am I attached like this? Okay. What have I been through to bring me to having this form of behavior modification that I have? And a lot of it, you don't mean to do it. It's not like something that you're trying to do, but you have to understand it's something that's sabotaging you out of real intimacy and real connectivity with yourself, number one, and with someone else. Some of you, you can't even feel yourself. You're that avoidant of life because a lot of things that had transpired in your childhood, a lot of things that transpired, and you've learned to self medicate, self secure, there's walls built up. All right. So God wants to heal those things in us so that we're not dismissive or avoidant. Okay. It's kind of like a person, they are good, especially in the beginning of a relationship. They'll be real good. But as soon as you start trying to learn them deeper, they don't know. They won't know. Don't go into condemnation. We're learning. They won't know. It's like, I don't know myself. I don't know who I am. I haven't went that deep into myself. Okay. Y'all got to respond tonight because I know it can get deeper. All right. All right. And then we have the fearful avoidant. All right. The fearful avoidant. The fearful avoidant is more dependent in the relationship than the avoidant. Okay. They're dependent. Okay. They have strong fears of rejection, low self-esteem. So they have they're very anxious. Okay. Because of the low self-esteem, they're fearful of losing someone, fearful of losing a man, fearful of losing a woman. So everything you're doing is in fear. All right. The fearful avoidant you're so in fear because you feel inferior, and you feel like if I lose this, I'm losing everything in my life. Okay. So when somebody has a fearful avoidant attachment style, they're detached from being comfortable and just allowing the thing to grow. Okay. Fearful avoidance always, they latch on real quick. Okay. Because they are afraid of what that would look like without this person. Okay. And what that really is telling is that I'm so needy about for a person to make me who I am that I haven't learned to relax and allow the thing to just grow and go into where it needs to go. All right. So we're going to go deeper into these things, but I'm gonna move on because I really want to, and I'm gonna bring definition as we go through this thing. But you have to identify what am I attachment? Am I secure? If I'm secure, watch this. I should be unoffendable, and I should be undefendable. Which means you can't. I'm not in defense of anyone, and I'm not offended by anyone. I'm not offended by anyone, and I'm not in defense of anyone. Okay, I'm secure in my identity. That's the goal, to be secure in your identity. Okay, so when you have a secure attachment style, you are secure in your identity. I'm not needy. I don't need someone to make me who I am. All right, I understand. I'm in alignment with God's purpose. Okay, so when I'm checking and testing someone in a relationship, I'm not looking for what they can bring me only. Watch this. That makes me to ease where I don't know myself. No, I'm merging into being fully in identity of who I am and seeing if they can fit the purpose that's commensurate with what God is calling me. All right, is that making sense? So you have to understand the goal is to be secure. I'm not offendable, and I'm not defensive. I don't have to be defensive. I know I am. I don't care what you say about me. I don't know. I know who I am. All right. That's being secure. And I understand the complexities of others because I've allowed God to deal with the complexities of me. All right. I understand the complexities of others because I've allowed God to deal with the complexities of me. All right. Are you anxious? Are you real anxious in the relationship? Why are you anxious in a relationship? The Bible says be anxious for nothing. But many people are anxious. You're so anxious that you throw down all the red flags. Stop you are not a counselor to an according relationship. I'm going to say that again. This ain't going to go fly. I'm probably going to lose some viewers right now. You are not the counselor in a courting relationship. I just want to help this person out. I just want to help them. I just want to help them. That is not the goal for trying to judge if you're going to do a relationship. All right. You're seeing all kinds of flags, but you're laying them down because you're so anxious. Like, I need somebody. Okay. You don't want to have that level of need of someone. All right. That's showing that you're feeling like This person is going to secure you in the fears and failures and phobias of your inner integrity, your inner self. All right. And then we got the avoidant dismissive. That's a person who is usually self governed. Okay. And usually these people are successful. Usually people are moving forward. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when they can detach themselves from a relationship, they don't have the internal cues. Okay. So they don't understand the complexities of relationship. They always want the instruction so they can fix it. Give me what to do. What must I do so I can make sure that it works, versus learning the cues through intimacy. I hope this is making sense. This is getting good to me. I know I had a slow start. Is it making sense? See, when you can't read the cues, that's an intimacy flag. That means there are some internal areas that needs to be helped out. Internal areas that needs to be healed. Okay. There's internal area. Yeah, I wish people knew about this stuff. Relationships can flourish more. People can stop being divorced if they understood what I'm talking about tonight. All right. But when you don't understand these behavioral modification styles, it can cause an expectation out of someone that you don't realize had a process that God had to deal with them. They're not doing that actually on purpose. It's actually incongruent with the childhood traumas or the underlying areas of their life and their soul that haven't been dealt with, that haven't been touched. Okay. For example, if you grew up as a single as a single child, and you didn't have other people to play with, and then you didn't have parents around, and this is not about listen, we're not beating up on anyone. Sometimes you had to learn how to entertain yourself. So you know how to entertain yourself in such a way, and I'm not saying this is not for everybody. This could be a different case, but you had to learn how to entertain yourself. So you don't have the conversations or the intimacy placements that you needed to secure you to go deep enough in yourself to understand intimacy. Most of the childhood traumas come from us not seeing a house the way it's supposed to be seen. Most of us come from single parent households. Most of us come from households, whether you had the parents in there, it was trauma, it was drama, it was all kinds of stuff. So you don't understand the coping mechanisms that you may be turned to ease the pain of misunderstanding. Okay, and that cause you to look internally. There's a deficit internally, and that always going to turn externally. All right. I hope this is making sense. Okay. So if you have if you're a fearful avoidant, you may be feared that somebody's going to leave you. Okay. And that may be a result of somebody leaving you in your life. I don't know if we're ready for this tonight. So I'm not going to go too deep into this. All right. I'm gonna wait, because we're going to need some prayer and some supplication for us to go into some counseling things. All right. But I'm really want to talk to you topical about these things. But when I'm a fearful avoidant, usually a lot of people maybe have left me in my life, and I'm afraid to be left again. And there are things in my life that always leave. So you got to watch that the fear, the anxious, anxious avoidant, not fearful, anxious. Fearful and anxious are similar, but they're different attachment styles. Okay. Then the dismissive avoidant attachment style. Dismissive, you can't. It's real hard to be intimate. It's real. You miss the cues. You're not. You don't understand how to read someone. Okay. Let alone how to read yourself of where you are. You can't really feel yourself, because you've always had to make it up for somebody. You probably grew up always having to do things and never learn that you are worth it and worthy without doing stuff. So you never learned yourself. You never learned your inner most thoughts about you. Okay. So a lot of, and then you use success as a pillar to keep not failing. All right. So this could be an avoidant dismissive attachment style. And then we have the avoidant fearful. Okay. Okay. And avoiding fearful, you're just dependent. You feel like you're dependent on everything. And a lot of things may have left you in your life too. But you may have come from different childhood traumas that did not secure you enough. So every time you feel secure in something, you feel like you got to keep it going. And whatever it takes, you need to keep this thing rolling. All right. No matter what the man says, no matter what the man does, no matter, you're going to just make it work. All right. So you don't want to be a fearful avoider. I'm just scared to lose this. Okay. That's fear. All right. And fear doesn't allow you to think fluently. When you're dealing with relationship, you need to be able, I told you, the first thing you need to do, you got to have an honest conversation. All right. So if you can't have an honest conversation, you're not ready. Can I have a fluent, honest conversation of where I am and where the person is, and we talk about where we're going, what we see in God, and what we feel God is saying about this relationship, right? So all of these things, and I'm gonna move on because we're running out of time. All of these things are important when it comes to when we're dealing with relationships and we're judging who we are and those we desire to be in relationship with. Because if you don't understand there's a type of the attachment style that you may be in relationship with, you could be prematurely having an expectation for someone that you don't realize that the twist in them that maybe all of us have different twists, but can you handle that twist? Can you handle their process? Okay. You can't handle my promise if you can't handle my process. Okay. So I want to make sure that where I am in the place in the presence of God is allowing God to deal with my process so that when I'm talking to someone, they're honest enough to expose their process. See, it's not that you have to let someone go or, get away from people because they're going through something or they have a process. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're never going to find somebody perfect like that. Okay. There's always a process, but you need to know the type of process. Okay. And if somebody's not honest with the process, that's already a red flag that you're going to have to, you're going to be so busy in discovery of this process. Okay. So we want to make sure that we have an understanding of our internal elements of our hearts, okay, the internal elements of our hearts, so that we know who we are in our identity, okay, and we're being affirmed, approved, accepted, okay. Do I have an approval and affirmation and acceptance issue? Okay, I need to be able to allow God to heal my heart and deal with me in those areas, all right, and that way I have a secure attachment style. The presence of God will secure you, okay. The presence of God will secure you. And that's why many of us, you need to spend more time with God. You need to spend more time with the presence of God because you need to learn of God so you can learn of you. When you learn of him, you will learn of you, right? And when you learn of you, you will stop wasting time trying to look at signs to prove somebody is for you. This person is good. I can tell, they go to church. Oh, this person is good. They're trying, they come from this bad childhood. They come from this, and there's nothing wrong with that. You understand? It's not saying we all have a past. We all have a past. But you have to understand, you're not getting into marriage to be a counselor. You're getting into marriage for purpose. Okay? This is why we're doing this challenge, because I want to help you get the tools that you need so that you don't have to waste time and or have an expectation beyond your maturity. Okay. You need to know what you need to mature in so that you're not wasting time. People go into things prematurely because they didn't have the tools. They thought love was going to do it. Well, if I love this person, God going to fix him. If I love this person, God going to help us through. Yeah, God going to help you through, but you need to know what that takes, what that entails. Okay. And so you're not getting into marriage to spend your life discipling someone. I'm not saying that we're not being discipled. When you're coming in an equally yoked relationship, you're yoking. The equal yoke is I'm submitted. The woman and the man is submitted to God. And when we come together, yes, there are going to be problems. Yes, there are going to be complexities. But because we're yoked in Christ, watch this, we're not waiting on a process for somebody to submit to because they don't know themselves. That's different. All right. When you fall into problems, what makes it equal yoke is y'all both gonna fall on the rock. And we're gonna get the answer out of who God is. We're gonna get the answer by submitting to God, and we're gonna know who we are. We're gonna know where we're going. And sometimes we're gonna get it wrong. But guess what? We're gonna fall on the rock, and we're gonna get back in alignment and get back in the placement. So what I'm saying is, saints, there are areas of our lives that we have to know about ourselves. How much are we willing to know about ourselves? How much am I willing to say yes to God in those areas of my being so that I'm secure in myself? And when I meet someone for a courting relationship to see if their potential for marriage, I'm not so needy. I'm not going through those corridors of where I haven't got healed and allowing these signs to feel where I need to be healed. See, when you're not allowing God to touch those inner parts, you need someone to feel where you're not healed. Do I need someone to feel where I'm not healed? Okay. Do I need someone to feel where I have not been healed? Okay. So you need to be able to judge and see where am I not allowing God to give me interpretation of this relationship. And I've taken the reins and said, no, I know how this is going to go. This is mine. And this is what we're going to do. And this is how we're going to do it. All right, let me get on out of there. Okay. So let your conviction speak louder than your compromise. Let your convictions, write that down, type that in. Let your convictions speak louder than your compromise. That's how you know. Is somebody conviction speaking louder than their compromise? When I'm dealing with myself or dealing with relationships, do your conviction speak louder than your compromise? All right. So these are personality types. And I'm going to give you the last thing of helping you understand how to be congruent in relationships. When you are learning, what we're learning, number one, is identity. We are singles. You have to learn to be secure in your identity, okay, in Christ. Know who you are, all right? If you're so needy in a relationship, it's not saying you don't want one or you don't desire one, but God is giving you this time to spend time with him so you can know of him and know about yourself, okay? And when you know about yourself, you won't allow your weaknesses you won't allow and let people to be drawn to your weaknesses. You won't sell yourself cheap, sell yourself short, all right? The reason why a lot of times we compromise our convictions is because these are areas that we haven't allowed God to touch. Listen, you want to live a true relationship, a truth relationship, a truth relationship. What that means is I'm not trying to live out of obligation. Most marriages, listen to me, and if you're married and you're learning through this, that's good. But I want every single to listen to me. Listen to me. This is important. Most married people live out of obligation. Most married, I take assessment sometime, and I ask people, and especially the men, I say, hey, why is this relationship even sticking? Most people are still married because they're scared of God. They're married because they committed, and that's good. You need that commitment. That's why the commitment is there. That's why the covenant commitment is there. But I don't want to spend my whole life being married only because I committed to you at the altar. I want to know that we're growing together. We're learning each other. We're building. All right. So you want to make sure that someone's core is solid. Okay. Write this down. I need core competencies. I'm going to give you the keys to core competencies. Number one, Christ. The C is Christ. What are the core competencies? Number one, the C is Christ. Okay. Is someone comfortable with their difference in Christ? Okay. Number two, order. Are they in divine order? Are they in order in their life? How far they are in order? Remember, I'm looking at the psychographics, not just demographics. Where are you in order of your life? Where is the order in your life? All right. What are they prioritizing? Okay. Do they prioritize the things of God, or do they prioritize their pain? Do they prioritize their money? Do they prioritize everything else? See, you got to look at the priorities. So, is the person in order? Am I in order? Many of you, God is putting you in order. Okay. The R stands for resistance. What is their level of resistance? Okay. What is their level of resistance? Okay. Resistance. We're just talking about core. Okay. Is their compromise bigger than their convictions? Is the compromise bigger than the convictions? And then enlightenment. Are they enlightened in their conscience? Are they clear in their conscience? Are they decisive? All right. Conscience. You have to understand these things. Number one, as a woman, this is important. Women, you need to understand it so you can judge a man by his character, by his conduct, by his conversation. Okay. And men need to understand this because you need to know where you are in your development style. Okay. In your development. All right. Now, I want you to understand this. Okay. I want you to understand this because there's stages of men. There are stages of men. And if you women, daughters, I need you to listen to this. There are stages of men. And I'm going to share with you tonight what is a secure style. Number one, ladies, you need to be secure in yourself because you can't discern a secure attachment style if you're not secure in yourself. I'm going to say that again. You can't discern a secure attachment style if you're not secure in yourself. Number one. All right. So I'm going to help you understand what a secure attachment style look like. But I'm going to tell you about the four stages of a man. All right. The four stages of a man. Number one, a baby. A man, every man started as a baby. Okay. A baby cries for attention and love. A baby cries for attention and love. Okay. Because see, when you get in relationships, you need to understand this man, because if he's going to be leading you, if he's going to be the leader, okay, the foundation, the head of Christ is the head of man is Christ, and the head of woman is man. All right. Don't get stuck in that. You're going to have to go look and listen to my Sunday message on that. All right. But you have to understand a baby cries for attention and love. It cries for attention and love. Okay. The youth. So that's the first stage. They start as a baby. Then a youth, you become a youth. Youth yearns for attention and love. Youth yearns for attention and love. Okay. A male acts out for attention and love. So when you say a man acting out when things not going his way, he just acting in his male. He's just male. We're getting to manhood. We're getting to responsibility. We're getting to secure, somebody who's secure in themselves. Okay. A secure attachment style. All right. So a baby cries for attention and love. A youth yearns for attention and love. They want it. They need it. Children, they yearn for it. See, when I could be chronologically 35, 36, 40, 25, but I can still be yearning as a youth for attention and love because I didn't get it from my father. I didn't get it from my mother. So you have to understand these things. All right. This is what I'm not doing. I am not trumping on somebody's process. I'm helping you to understand how to test properly so you don't have an expectation beyond what you can handle. And that way you don't waste time and you're not trying to make somebody change and you allow God to do the process and change. Let people cook. Let them cook. You need to cook and let somebody cook. And then when you come together, you're secure. All right. When you're courting, you're judging for potential in where you are in security versus trying to get together out of pain, getting together out of your history, getting together out of you hurt, I'm hurt. Let's get together. Let's get married. No, I need to know the process of my purpose so I can have understand who I am. I asked you last week, do you see differently in the spirit than you see in the flesh? And everybody said, yeah. So that means I only know what's for me when I'm the one that I'm supposed to be. That's what we're talking about. I only know what's for me when I'm the person that I'm supposed to be. So we're learning who we need to be so we can know who is for us. So I can prematurely think somebody's for me when I'm not the one I'm supposed to be. But when I become who I'm supposed to be, I can discern who I'm supposed to be with. Okay. So you have the baby cry, you have the youth, you have the male. He acts out for attention and love. Now, this is important. The man, the God man, the spirit-led man. This is important. The spirit-led man, the God man, is attention and love. He is attention and love. That means he provided. That means he provides it. Are y'all getting this? If you just heard what I just said, say I hear you. Or put a thumbs up. A secure man is attention and love. When I show up, I provide the love. I provide the attention. Okay. I've learned, you see, a secure man learned to get that from God, and he's decisive in his actions. He's decisive in his attitude. He's decisive in his application. Okay. He's decisive in his attitude. He's decisive in his actions. He's decisive in his application. Y'all getting this? So you have to understand a secure man. But if I'm needy, I'm going to be looking to secure things for a man. Secure things. I'm not saying you want, listen, if you're going to be a helpmeet, you need to have certain components of understanding how to help, how to be a support system, but you're not there to be a foundation as a woman. If that man is not decisive, if he's not determined to be secure, if he's not secure yet, it doesn't mean he's a bad man. It just might mean he's not ready to provide security and love. Okay, that give that attention and love, and that's okay. So you need to allow God to let someone go through the process. Sometime we talked about this. Courting is judging from a ready place. If I'm not at a courting ready place, don't adopt the world perspective about relationships and we are committed. Yeah, but committed in a discipleship counseling process is too much expectation. You're going to rush each other. You're gonna fight each other because you that person got to meet the demand of your timing. That person got to meet the demand of your development. See, it's too much demand. You're not getting free fast enough, and that type of pressure makes people make this decision prematurely of where they didn't really understand. With all thy getting, get understanding. Okay, and so it's not about somebody being perfect like that. We're all perfect in Christ, the Bible says. But I'm saying every relationship is cultivated. Every relationship is worked out. But you need to know what that entails. I need to know, because listen, can't handle that level of process. Okay? I can't handle that level of process. Okay? So allow God to walk you through the paradigm. You need a paradigm shift. You need a paradigm shift. Shift in your perspective. Don't rush. Marriage is a lifetime. Marriage is a lifetime. And you want to have the tools down to understanding who you are. But all of this starts with, yes, somebody wrote it again. I only know what's for me when I'm the one that I'm supposed to be. And as we're growing in the things of God, this is believers connection singles. These are for spirit-led believers. This is for someone who loves God and submitted and willing and want a God-led marriage, something that works. There is no marriage outside of God. If you're doing marriage outside of God, it's not going to work. It's not built on a rock. It's going to be, it's going to be torn down. I know people who marry, who not in God and all of that stuff. Listen, you don't know what's behind the scenes. Okay? You don't know what's behind the scenes. It takes the Spirit of God to lead a person, to lead a couple, to lead someone. A 3-strand cord is not easily broken. Okay? So if God if God is for it, nobody's going to destroy it. Hey, I hope this encouraged and equipped you to understanding where you are. If you heard me tonight talk about an attachment style and you have more questions and comments about that, we're going to start a conversation around it. And I'm going to do more development and more counseling and more. How many would like that? Go ahead and put a thumbs up if you want more, more teachings on these attachment styles and come into that. Let me know out there if you want more of that, this, so that you can learn who you are. Okay. I really believe God is calling us to have 1,000 successful marriages. Okay. I want 1,000. One can reach 1,000. If we get 1,000 successful marriages, relationships and marriages, listen, remember, when we're talking about the world going through this, it didn't start the world. The world is a community. The community is a family. The family started with a relationship between two people. Okay. And so this is the most important thing you'll ever learn in your life. Because if you don't know the relationship with yourself and God and the relationship you desire to be in a relationship to get married, the children that you're going to have, you're not reinforcing to them the right principles. That's what causes a family breakage. That's what causes a community breakage. And that ultimately is what causes a world breakage. So we got to plug the lack of development in relationships and get a spirit-led training, spiritual training. I know there's a lot of stuff out there on social media and YouTube and stuff, and I'm not saying all of it is bad and all of it is wrong, but you got to sometimes be careful, watch your ears, because not everybody understands the complexity of what they're talking about. Okay. A spirit-led marriage is totally, listen, it's different from the things that you see in this world. Men need a spirit-led conviction. Women need a conviction too, but men need a purpose. You are only as successful as the purpose that you see in Christ. Okay. That's the goal. That's the purpose of marriage, to be one for the purposes of God. All right. And what marriage does, marriage is for the flesh so we can stay in the spirit. Oh, I'm going to say that again. Marriage is to secure that flesh so we can stay in the spirit. So it is ultimately for the spirit. Okay. It's a spirit-led action. You become one, though, in the flesh. You become one flesh. That's what he's talking about. You become one flesh. Why one flesh? Because marriage is about the flesh. So you can stay secure in the spirit. Okay? So you need to understand these things. That way you can be fluent in the processes and the principles and the progression of your relationship with yourself and with someone else. Hey, I hope you were encouraged tonight, equipped tonight, and I look forward to our last session, and we're going to go into some deeper things. And I'm believing God. We're Believers Connection Single is a community of believers, those who really desire a God-led relationship. Number one, with God, and get in a community with other people with like-minded interests. Okay. With like-minded interests. Okay. And that's what Believers Connection Single is all about. Hey, if you haven't joined our free community, make sure that you join the free community. Go to believersconnection.net. Excuse me. Go to bcsingles.net. And I want you to go ahead and sign up for our free community. All right. And be ready. We're about to take this thing on. And I'm believing God that we're going to build a community with God-led men and God-led women, and we're going to bring you all together. I'm actually tired. There ain't no men in this world. Yes, they are. There ain't no women in this world. Yes, they are. The problem is, are you the one that you're supposed to be so you can see who you need to see? So that's the goal of bringing this community together. And I believe God is going to transform you and change you into who you're called to be. Hey, I hope you all enjoyed tonight. And I'm going to put the replay out, and let's keep growing. I look forward to seeing you on the other side next week. Take care.